Hello students and welcome back to the second video for Unit 4. We're going to read about monarchs of the air. A monarch is a type of butterfly, like this butterfly. So read with me. Butterflies are some of nature's prettiest creatures. Monarch butterflies are especially attractive. They are a common sight in many parts of North America during the summer. You may have seen them floating lightly in the air. It is hard to believe they make flights up to 2,000 miles, but they do. So let's discover where these butterflies go for the winter. Monarch butterflies set out from the northern state of Canada. That's where they spend the summer. They leave in late August through October. Those that live west of the Rocky Mountains fly further west. They head for the California coast. Those east of the Rockies travel south. They head for the fir trees of the mountains of central Mexico. Monarch butterflies like Mexico. It is cold, but not freezing. It also has the right amount of moisture in the air. Hundreds of millions of monarchs gather in one small area. They completely cover the trees. They stay there through the winter months. During that time, they barely move. By the middle of March, it is time for them to head north again. During their return flight, female monarch butterflies land in different patches of milkweed. They lay their eggs on the underside of the leaves. Soon after, the female dies. A week or so passes. Then tiny caterpillars come out of the eggs. They start feeding on the milkweed. Its leaves have a poison. That poison stays inside of the caterpillars and adult butterflies. It does not hurt them, though. Instead, it is harmful to the birds that eat them. After becoming sick, the bird learns from their mistake. Next time, they choose other creatures for food. When the caterpillars are fully grown, they stop eating. Each makes a chrysalis around itself. This is a pouch sort of like a moth's cocoon. Now they can begin the process of changing into a butterfly. After about 2 weeks, they break out of these pouches. They unfold and stretch their wings. Then they are ready to continue the flight north, which their parents had begun. How do they know where to go? It's a big mystery, but they keep flying and flying. Finally, they arrive. They are at the very places their parents left in late summer. The butterflies that flew south for the winter had a lifespan of 5 or 6 months. But the summer butterfly lives an average of only 4 weeks. In this short time, they feed on the nectar of lilacs and other flowers. Then they lay their eggs and die. This cycle is repeated. It takes place 3 or 4 or 5 times over the summer. The butterflies that go south in the fall are probably the great-great-grandchildren of those that arrive in the spring. They too will live for about 6 months. Sadly, there are fewer and fewer places where monarch butterflies can spend the winter months. In central Mexico, the forests are being cut down for timber. In California, the trees along the coast continue to be cleared. Houses and shopping malls are built in their place. The result is fewer suitable wintering places for the monarch butterfly. Adding to their trouble is the need of farmers in the United States and Canada to get rid of milkweed. To them, it is a weed. Not to the monarch butterflies, though. It is the only food their caterpillars can eat. You might be able to attract monarch butterflies in your area. Try planting clumps of milkweed in sunny areas sheltered from the wind. They may reward you with a visit. They are easy to spot. They have large orange wings about 4 inches across. The wings have black borders and white markings. As you watch them flutter by, think about the long journey they will soon make. Okay, pause the video and read the story again before we start answering the questions. Now, as we answer the questions, if there isn't a word, a vocabulary word in the sentence, be sure to use it. Use one word. Like for question 2, you must use one more vocabulary word in your answer. I'll help you. Question 1. What does an empty chrysalis or a cocoon tell you? Well, let's go back to that part in the story. So they make a chrysalis around itself. This is like a pouch or sort of a moth's cocoon. Now they can begin the process. So they compared the word cocoon with chrysalis. And remember, we learned that a cocoon is a silk home for a caterpillar. So they build this little home. It's a circle. So a cocoon or a chrysalis is like a cocoon for a monarch butterfly. Question 2. What do monarch butterflies feed on? Do you know which word we have to use? Nectar. Be sure to use nectar in your sentence. In this short time, they feed on nectar of lilacs and other flowers. If you know other flowers, you can write that in your answer. So the monarch butterfly feeds on the nectar of flowers. Question 3. How far across are the wings of a monarch butterfly? In this sentence, use the word span. Their wingspan. Let's find it. Well, this is a lifespan. Where does it talk about? Their width of their arms, or the width of their... So they're very easy to spot. They have large orange wings about 4 inches across. So the span of their wings is 4 inches. 4 inches across. Question 4. On average, how many times are new groups of monarch butterflies born in the summer? Remember, the average is all of the numbers added divided by how many numbers in the set. So, how many times are there new groups in the summer? This cycle is repeated. It takes place 3, 4, or 5 times over the summer. So the average lifespan happens 3 to 5 times in a summer. That's quite a lot. On average, there are 5 new groups. Question 5. When would a butterfly's wings not flutter? Remember, the word flutter means to move, like waving. So the butterfly waves his wings like this. When would they not be fluttering? Perhaps in the winter? They stay there through the winter months. During that time, they barely move. So they go to Mexico in the winter, and they don't move. They don't flutter their arms, their wings. They don't flutter their wings. Question 6. How many times would a monarch butterfly cross the border of a country on its journey from Canada to Mexico? The border of a country is the line. So let's look at a map. Here's Canada. Canada kind of looks like this. Here's the United States. That's Florida. And here is Mexico. Mexico. United States of America. So how many borders must it fly through? Well, first it has to go from here in Canada down to the US and down to Mexico. So it will cross 2 borders on its journey from Canada to Mexico. 2 borders. Okay, next question. What kind of place do monarch butterflies need for their winter resting place? What vocabulary word should we use? In their winter resting place. Use the word suitable. There are fewer suitable winter resting places for the monarchs. But where do they spend? They rest in forests. And they talked about this a few times in the story. They must find a forest to live in. They head for the California coast. And they also travel to the Rocky Mountains or to central Mexico. But in all of these places, they must find a suitable forest with milkweeds. The milkweeds are very important for them. The female butterflies land in different patches of milkweeds. This is a suitable place for them to have their babies or lay their eggs. Use the word suitable. Question 8. How long does it take the caterpillar to turn into a monarch butterfly? How long does it take them to turn into a monarch butterfly? Well, this process takes about 2 weeks. Then they break out of the pouches. They unfold and stretch their wings. So the process takes about 2 weeks. Remember, a process is step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Use the word process. Question 9. Is milkweed a suitable food for birds? Explain your answer. No, it is not a suitable food for birds. Why? Milkweed is actually a poison. So milkweed, it leaves a poison. That poison stays inside of the caterpillars and butterflies. But the birds eat them and they become sick. Then the birds learn from their mistake. So actually, milkweed is very poisonous for birds. They become sick. And question 10. If the forest in central Mexico are used for timber, what do you think will happen to the monarch butterflies? So you have to think about this question. If we cut down all of the trees and use them for timber, what happens to the butterflies that live in the trees, in the forest? Explain your answer here. Okay, that's all for lesson 4. Be sure to answer all of the questions and you can read the story again. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.